Yo guys, it is me Finley. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. In this video today, we are going to react to content creators that have faked illnesses. So if you guys are new, please be sure to drop a subscribe. I'll straight into this, and yeah, let's go.
On the 10th of July 2024, while live on the Lolcow podcast, a popular political streamer named Destiny briefly joined the show to drop a bombshell of an allegation against Boogie2988, real name Stephen Jason Williams. Destiny's claim would send the online world into shock and disgust. You see, in November 2022, Boogie came out on Twitter to claim that he had been diagnosed with polycythemia vera. In case you haven't heard of it, polycythemia vera is a rare type of blood cancer that's described as slow-moving, and while potentially life-threatening in the long run, can be eased with the proper treatment. He would go on to make a video about the subject, with this clip being him confirming it.
Turns out I got a rare blood cancer called polycythemia vera, which basically makes your body produce too many red blood cells. And when I started taking that testosterone supplement 7 or 8 years ago, however long it's been, we knew that this was a possibility. You never think you're going to be the guy who gets that side effect though, right? You never think it's going to be you. But sometimes it is. It has to be somebody.
However, it now seems as though Boogie did not have polycythemia vera, but instead something else called secondary polycythemia. Similar in name, but very different in effect. Now, the problem that many of his critics have is that if you were worried that you misheard the doctor, or you weren't entirely sure what the implications of your illness were, you wouldn't come out onto the internet to say this kind of thing. So naturally, Destiny felt the need to call him out. Now, an easy way for Boogie to clear up these accusations would be to show someone his medical records. But Boogie was saying that he didn't feel the need to show his medical records because after everything that he's been through and shown online, the specifics of his medical history are the last corner of privacy that he has left.
Hey, you need the money! You're not seeing my medical records for 20, not for 50. You're not seeing my medical records.
$5,000.
This is the last thing I have is my medical records.
Alright, do you care about this anymore?
If I hand this over, I've given over literally every goddamn thing.
He would hold this stance even after being offered tens of thousands to reveal this information.
There was I think it was an $80,000 bounty. Like, multiple YouTubers came in and offered thousands upon thousands of dollars to Boogie, up to $80,000, to just show a piece of his medical record to a trusted third party, so that way they could verify it, that he really does have cancer like he claims he does.
Yeah.
And he refused.
Now, of course, nobody is entitled to this information, but revealing it would put this all to bed, especially considering that Boogie has lived his life giving information over to the internet. He was the one that brought this up in the first place. It's very odd that this is where he decides to draw the line, especially considering that giving over this last piece of information would clear his name, but also be very financially beneficial for him too. Keep in mind that this is the exact same person who was literally exposed for scamming his audience via crypto mere weeks before the cancer hoax allegations. He's done a lot more for a lot less. It makes no logical sense that he would turn down a good year's salary to keep his last bastion of privacy a secret, especially when it's known that he has financial struggles. Destiny then went on to claim his theory behind what happened. He claimed that he thought that Boogie had secondary polycythemia, which is different to polycythemia vera. This was because the leading causes that Boogie claimed to have that led him to developing polycythemia vera were instead more in line with him having secondary polycythemia, which is not cancerous. Boogie, on the other hand, claimed that he was told that he had polycythemia vera and had markers in his blood that confirmed it.
Because it was in my blood markers, and that's pretty goddamn definitive. You can Google that, Destiny. When you have the hormones, when you have the hormone in the blood that is produced by this cancer, it's pretty goddamn definitive. It doesn't show up for just the sakes of it.
Now, this would be outrageous to lie about, considering that Boogie's own father died of cancer, as well as numerous other people in Boogie's life. But with the internet now turned against him, he decided to release a statement regarding the situation on Twitter. It's quite long, so I'll give you a rundown instead of the full thing. He stated, "According to the internet, I lied about cancer. However, for the last 2 years, I've been treating the symptoms of that cancer. Blood tests, medications, and so much more. we still have one test left to do to verify which cancer it is. For now, we've been treating the polycythemia vera, which is the cancer they told me that I have. He went on to say, I was panicked when my doctor told me I had cancer 2 years ago, and I was in a vulnerable state. I shed that long before I should have. It was a stupid thing to do. I should have never jumped the gun like that. Finishing the post off by saying, I'm sorry for those hurt or offended by either the rumours that have floated around or by my actions when I spoke too early about my cancer. Of all the mistakes and fuck-ups I've ever made in this life, this was the one that will haunt me to the bitter end, as it should. I'm genuinely sorry. Unfortunately, many people find it very difficult to believe Boogie, especially given the reputation that he's bestowed upon himself over the past few years. He's lied, cheated, manipulated, and craved sympathy for it at every turn. And given the circumstances of it, the fact that he was unwilling to give this information over to an unbiased third party was highly suspicious. According to the people that are certain that he's guilty, the likelihood is that he knows that he wouldn't be able to find an official document that made the claim that he had polycythemia vera. But, with it being a relatively mild form of cancer in the short term, he could simply claim that he had it to garner support and win over sympathy from people, believing that it would be difficult to definitively disprove. As for a person like him with a laundry list of medical ailments that he already suffers from, this is almost just one to add to the pile. With this being a relatively recent incident, and of course the inspiration for this very video, we'll have to wait and see how this latest controversy will impact Boogie moving forward. Will it cause him to run out of road and force the scraps of his remaining audience to finally abandon him? Will there be any later developments? We'll just have to wait and see. But with the Boogie situation having taken over the internet over the past couple of weeks, it's gotten me thinking, what other creators have been accused of faking their illnesses? Because call me crazy, but it doesn't seem like this is the first time that this has happened. And as it turns out, it's not. Right here, right now, I'm going to cover 6 different times that YouTubers, creators, and influencers said they had some sort of illness or disease, but were later found out to be lying. So coming up, we have a creator who lied about having sickle cell so that she could cover for getting a Brazilian butt lift, and an influencer whose deceit was so successful that she was able to make an app and write a cookbook before she was caught. Keep in mind that these are just the creators that we know about. There could be several still out there that are faking their illnesses, but we just don't know it yet. But here's one that we do know. Extreme Games.
Extreme Games. Oh. I know.
Back in 2018, this
I know Extreme Games. There's an advert, guys. There's a 34-second advert. Thank God. We can skip the advert. It's not that bad. 7:43, is it? Sure. Right. 3, 2, 1, and play on.
Australian duo uploaded a video to YouTube titled "We're quitting YouTube because we're dying," not clickbait, in which, as the title suggests, they made the claim that they were both about to die. The one on the right, named Jonathan, said that he was dying from kidney disease.
I've been fighting this kidney disease now for literally 4 years, and it's finally got the best of me.
Whereas the one on the left, called Thomas, said that he was dying from vertigo.
Every single day that I wake up, it's like just absolute vertigo. And if you guys don't know what vertigo is, it's like dizziness.
Now, of all the faked illnesses I'm going to mention today, this one is probably by far the dumbest. Because first of all, vertigo is not exactly what might be considered as deadly, and second of all the way through this video, they made it seem as though they were both going to die just at the same time, as if their conditions were dependent on each other. If one dies, the other one just automatically dies too. I mean, in the title, it literally says, "We are dying." What a coincidence, and also a rarity that these two 20-something-year-old men are dying of different ailments at the exact same time, and also both happen to have the exact same amount of time to live. And even then, they couldn't keep their story straight. Half the time, it seemed as though they just wanted to quit, saying that it's too hard to carry on, and the other half they were saying that they had one chance left for salvation, and if their final doctor couldn't cure them, they would both surely die.
I'm pretty much down to my last chance. I'm down to my last hope. All I have is this one last doctor that can possibly be the one to heal me.
Just by watching this video, it should be fairly evident that the pair were lying about the severity of their situation. They're constantly smirking or storming off to try and increase the drama. It was so obviously fake. And it's hard to tell what they were even going for here. It legitimately seems as though they wanted to get caught. What went through their minds here? Who came up with this? Which one do you think said to the other one, oh, I think we should make a little health hoax?
Yeah,
I'm sure you're wondering why they would even want to do this, and the answer is fairly simple. For half of the video, they were telling people to subscribe and ring that notification bell for a final giveaway.
We want you to know 2 things. First thing is we're going to give away 2 iPhone X's, 2 of them. We're literally going to give away 2 of them. That's how much we love you guys. All you got to do is literally like this video, turn on notifications on our channel, and subscribe.
Now, I've never met a YouTuber who is dying. But call me crazy, I don't think an iPhone giveaway is what they would do in that situation. It's almost like they were faking it. And for some reason, they tried to keep up the ruse. They would then make a video called He Sings for His Brother, Don't Cry, in which they doubled down.
Guys, the doctor just told us. Johnny's got 4 weeks to live.
And it's here, in this video, that they reveal that the doctor they're going to see, their last shot at survival to heal their kidney disease and vertigo, is a chiropractor. They fill out their forms, making sure to tick yes on the would you like to get rid of this problem box, which, like, why is that there? And then the chiropractor gives them a chiropractic adjustment, as you might expect from a chiropractor, though this does seem irrelevant given their illnesses, but apparently that cures them. That's the claim that this video makes. Cracking bones cures kidney disease and vertigo. This was a long saga, with the brothers making many more videos about their impending deaths, with creators such as Leon Lush and many others ever since calling them out. From there, the pair doubled down once more, delivering a video that had a little bit more bite to it. In an upload titled The Truth About Us Dying for Views, they come across as actually genuinely believing what they're saying, that a chiropractor had the answers to cancer, kidney disease, and other illnesses. Let me clarify that I can't confirm for certain that these two are actually faking their illnesses. In all honesty, it does seem as though Jonathan does have some sort of kidney problems, but having said that, they definitely did fake it in areas. For example, Tom says that he was dismissed by medical professionals for his vertigo, but then somehow still thought that it was deadly, and so to come out and say that he had 4 weeks left to live is just a blatant lie. You wouldn't make claims like that unless you were certain. As of 20 hours ago...
Right. Give me a second, let me see if this is... Yeah, that's okay.
About 6 years after these videos were made, they're both still alive. The giveaway, by the way, was almost certainly fake, and today these old videos have since been taken down. Whether it was because they faked the giveaway, faked their claims, had a falling out with their chiropractor who also seemed to have a YouTube channel, or didn't like the drama that came with it, these videos are now very tough to find, with the pair seemingly having cleared out their channel on the Wayback Machine. Nonetheless, it seems like much of this situation was hyperbolized and faked, earning them a spot in this video.
Definitely.
But now, moving on to a complete and utter sham in every definition of the word, we have the death of Sketchcheck.
The death of... Was it? I'm trying to think who he was.
If you've never heard of Sketchcheck before, he's now infamous on YouTube for a stunt that he pulled back in 2015. You see, Sketchcheck had created his channel back in 2011 and started constantly uploading in 2013. Soon becoming known as one of Team Fortress 2's best players. But by 2015, he had had enough. According to him, video games had ruined his life. But instead of just communicating this with his audience and putting up a video saying that he wanted to walk away from the table, he instead decided to claim that he had contracted a terminal illness that he didn't want to disclose. A wise move, considering that this was all a load of codswallop. In a brief 3.5-minute video, he would detail that he was done with YouTube, and at least according to his doctors, would soon be done with life, too.
truth is, I've been very sick. I don't want to reveal too much information about my illness, but the doctors are saying that I probably don't have a lot of time left, and my chances of recovery are looking, low.
Of course, his audience didn't know that this was all what you might call balderdash. And to this very day, if you check the right comment section or Reddit thread posted back between 2015 and 2017, you'll see people grieving for this creator. Now, if Sketchak would have left things there, if he left well enough alone, perhaps he would be remembered in a better light. But in 2018, he came back to YouTube to announce that he was not actually dead.
About 3 years ago, I announced that I had contracted a non-specific terminal illness. I want everyone to know that was a lie. I was never ill, not even a little bit. I don't really have an excuse. I mean, what can I say? I just love the feeling of taking someone for a ride. But I took it a bit too far this time.
In all honesty, this video was not received too poorly, with roughly a 2.5 to 1 like to dislike ratio. Usually, videos like this receive much more hatred. But then again, the comments on this channel are completely turned off, so it's difficult to find much discourse about Sketchak outside other people's videos on him. However, these days, it might not matter so much, because despite Sketchak coming back in 2018, he would once more disappear in 2021, having not uploaded a single video to his channel in almost 3 years. But from a creator who's currently inactive to one that hosts a weekly podcast, next up to bat we have Daisy Marquez.
I've heard about this one. Daisy Marquez, I've heard about some other
So
ones.
if you haven't heard of her, Daisy Marquez is an influencer with 1.7 million followers on Instagram and 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube. She's a very popular woman, but she came under heavy fire early this year for some comments that she made on a podcast that exposed her for lying about an illness a few years back. But before we talk about her self-reporting, we need to take things back about 6.5 years to when she made a video talking about why she'd been missing for a few weeks. Now, for most of us creators, if we know that we're going to be away for a couple of weeks, we might pre-record some content in advance, maybe get together some compilations to put up whilst we're away, and if it's a personal enough reason, maybe not even acknowledge it. Daisy, though, didn't do this. Instead, she made a video explaining to her audience that after going to the doctors for a checkup, she'd been diagnosed with sickle cell anemia.
How should I say it? Like, sickle cell disease is like 100% sickle cell anemia, and sickle cell trait is like 50%, should I say. So sickle cell trait is more like you just get the symptoms. So the symptoms are like dizziness, fatigue, weakness, chest pain, muscle pain, which explains so much because ever since I was little, my hands and feet would swell up, and that was because I wasn't getting oxygen flow to my hands and feet because of sickle cell anemia.
Now, believe it or not, but I'm no doctor. I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Media. Yeah, that was a bad decision. Daisy clearly knows much more about sickle cell and obviously her own medical records than me. But flash forward to January 2024, and Daisy Marquez would completely self-report on the fact that she'd lied about having sickle cell anemia as a way to cover for her getting a BBL, otherwise known as a Brazilian butt lift.
So in 2018, I got a BBL. I never denied it. I just never addressed it. I got the surgery. And obviously, like, for the people that have gotten surgery, they ask you questions beforehand, like, about your health and stuff. I remember they asked me if you're anemic, and I was like, yes. And they're like, okay, usually with patients who are anemic, you know, we'll monitor you afterwards just to make sure, because some patients lose a lot of blood, some don't, like, blah, blah. So I remember waking up, and this nurse came, and she's like, hi, honey, like, you know, we're just monitoring you, like, you did lose a lot of blood, like, we just want to make sure that you're good. Like, she's just, like, talking to me, and she's like, so how long have you been anemic for? And I was like, oh, like, since I can remember. And she's like, oh, she's like, you probably have sickle cell.
And she just said it just like that?
Dude, that is the first time ever in my entire life that I had ever even heard that word, right? And I just remember she said that, and I was like, yeah, like, whatever. And yeah, whatever. And then, like, the third day is, like, when I was finally coming back to life, and I remember looking at my DMs and, like, message people being like, how, like, where are you? Where have you been? Like, I hadn't posted on social media for those 3 days, and then I go into full panic mode. When I tell you, I did not think about how difficult the aftermath was going to be. And I remember getting out the surgery and it literally felt like I got ran over by a trailer. I started freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, like what am I gonna tell my fans? I had no content pre-filmed. Like I go into full panic mode. And I remember at the time it was just my mom and my ex there with me, and they didn't know what to do, and I was just kind of like in a frenzy, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna say that I had sickle cell. So whenever I thought like, oh, I just have sickle cell, you know when you like go, like when you have symptoms and you go on Google, you like self-diagnose yourself? Okay, so my stupid dumbass really thought that like it was like a cold and then you get like a flu. That's what I thought.
People on Reddit and in YouTube comments were livid, considering that sickle cell is a horrendous infliction to have. But compared to a lot of the cases I have in this video, it kind of seems as though she got away with it, because though a few videos have been made about the situation, none of them gained more than a few dozen thousand views. The video in which she confirmed that she faked it, as well as a few more uploaded around the same time, all have their comments turned off. But at least on Instagram, it's been business as usual for the past half year. Though it's very possible, likely in fact, that she's been deleting comments. Still, definitely deserving of being in this video. Moving on to perhaps the most infamous case we have today, let's discuss ticks and roses.
I heard about this. I saw it also on SunnyV2. I saw also on SunnyV2. This girl's like picked up like ticks and stuff like that. And then she got exposed by like her own family. She got exposed to like her own by her own family or something like that. And then yeah, I think she put on Reddit, she was like, oh yeah, you know, you guys all win and stuff like that. And then she just deleted everything. Now she's doing her yarn business, I'm pretty sure, something like that. That's when I heard. I probably wrong in saying that, but yeah, I'll just...
Is Emerald Rose, previously known on TikTok as Ticks and Roses, but now known as an attention-seeking liar. She's now one of, or perhaps even the most, infamous creator in online history to be accused of faking an illness. In this instance, faking Tourette's syndrome, with videos covering her story reaching view counts in the tens of millions. In case you don't know what Tourette's is, it's described on the NHS website as a condition that causes a person to make involuntary sounds and movements called tics. It usually starts during childhood, but the tics and other symptoms usually improve after several years, and sometimes go away completely. People started to become suspicious with Rose after discovering previous live streams and videos of her on the internet in which she didn't tic at all, which was strange considering that within her TikTok videos, it would appear as though she had quite an aggressive form of Tourette's, with her ticking quite a lot. In many instances, she couldn't get through single sentences without her tics kicking in on multiple occasions and making her fully unable to make her point.
Well, and I wanted to talk a little bit about wow. I wanted to talk wow. I wanted to talk a little bit about wow. Never mind.
After pressure began to build, Emerald would release a medical document that was meant to clear her name, but it did quite the opposite. People noticed a few flaws and mistakes in this document, such as PTSD being written down twice and an inaccurate logo. These clues would make it seem as though Rose herself had forged this. It didn't help that she would delete comments, take the video down, and scrub her Instagram of all of its content. It was beginning to appear more and more as if Emerald had read through the South Park playbook and was now pulling a Cartman, lying about having Tourette's.
Tourette's syndrome? What is that, Mommy? Butthole! Titties! Bowels!
Now, it did seem as though Rose did have an illness, but it wasn't Tourette's, but rather Huntington's disease, which is characterized by having involuntary muscle movements. However, it is not Tourette's. Shortly after this incident began to go viral, it caught the attention of none other than Emerald's sister, under the username Jade4101. Jade confirmed that she did not believe that her sister had Tourette's, something that as a family member she would know, because Tourette's, as we know, most often rears its head in early childhood. Jade would go on to say that Emerald was mentally ill though, but she did not support what Emerald had done, calling it incredibly disrespectful and fake. And then, very shortly after, the Tix and Rose's TikTok account would be no more. Facing disgust and outrage, Emerald Rose is now no longer active on social media. But I want to take things full circle now to talk about perhaps the most vicious and audacious case we have today. That being of Mrs. Belle Gibson.
I didn't think it was over, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was over. I mean, I thought that TikTok was going to be the last
Belle
one.
Gibson was an Australian Instagram creator who was told that she only had 4 months to live after being diagnosed with brain cancer. Her story really begins after she avoided traditional methods of treatment and opted for an alternative approach via diet, exercise, and natural medicine, which, against all odds, she claimed worked and saved her life. With a story like this, it's not hard to see why she gained a following so quickly. In theory, she literally had the cure for cancer. She shared her story on her Instagram account, as well as various recipes that she claimed helped her through her treatment. Within 2 years, she had the best part of 200,000 followers, fame, fortune, a positive reputation after claiming to donate vast sums of money to various different charities, an app that was downloaded 200,000 times in its first month, and a cookbook to go along with it that released in November 2014. But it was this book that many people consider to be the beginning of the end for Gibson's claims, as her web of lies began to untangle. She made the claim that she developed malignant brain, blood, spleen, uterine, liver, and kidney cancers in response to a cervical cancer vaccination. She also claimed to have had heart surgery, having at one point died on the operating table, and claimed to have previously had a stroke. All of this without being able to supply any evidence that any of the claims were true. As people started to read into this book, they began to notice some other claims that she made. Alternative methods of medicine that she claimed worked, but were often dismissed by the professionals. For example, she was anti-vaccination and promoted the consumption of unpasteurized raw milk. According to the American Food and Drug Administration, known as the FDA, it states that raw milk can carry dangerous germs such as Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, Campylobacter, and others that cause foodborne illnesses, often called food poisoning, which can especially be dangerous to people with weakened immune systems, aka people with cancer. The tide was now turning against Gibson, and it wouldn't be long before things went from bad to worse. People began to comment on her Instagram that she was shilling a lie, but these comments were swiftly deleted. The microscope was now firmly on this influencer, but the worst was yet to come. As I mentioned before, Belle was known for her medical claims, app, and book, all of which were now coming under scrutiny. But she was also known for her philanthropy, which would also come undone when it was discovered by Fairfax Media that despite her claim to have donated $300,000 to various charities that funded maternal healthcare in developing nations, schools in sub-Saharan Africa, and medical support for children with cancer, in reality, only $7,000, a mere 2.3% of what she claimed, actually went to charity. And $1,000 of that was after she found out that Fairfax were looking into her claims. She had also claimed to have donated to the parents of a child that had cancer, parents that she had befriended back in 2013. The parents were unaware that she was out there making these claims, and confirmed to the media that no, they had not received any donations from her. In fact, they were now under the suspicion that she had just used their friendship to benefit herself, speaking to them as a method of understanding from first-hand sources what it would be like living with cancer, or having someone so close that does. After they confronted her about her cancer and charity falsifications, they claim that